you with me today? Today we are going to be moving on to Henry the Third. As you'll remember, last time we looked at the awful King John, who was the most useless king that there ever was. But shall we find out whether or not Henry the Third was any better? So let's read more about Henry the Third right away. His face looks really happy. He's got a nice smile to him and he looks quite placid and calm. But we will find out if that's the truth or not. So, Henry the Third was born on the 1st of October 1207 and he died on the 16th of November 1272. This is the day before my birthday, obviously not 1272, but I was born on the 17th of November. And he reigned from the 19th of October 1216 to obviously when he died on the 16th of November 1271. Now, Henry was just 9 years old when his father, John, died. So, John actually had a son, Henry. We weren't too sure about that last time as it wasn't made 100% clear. So, this Henry was the son of the awful King John. So when John died, he left Henry the throne. He was his father's son. In other words, not the greatest of kings. Oh no, he took after his dad. The barons, always easily annoyed, went so far as to organise a rebellion and capture Henry. Oh dear, it hasn't gone very well for him, has it? However, Henry had a son, Edward, who was a rather more successful leader and who saved his father, allowing Henry to get back on the throne, where he stayed until the end of his days. Oh, well, that's unfortunate that he looked like such a nice man. Right. So Henry the Third. Luckily, Henry the Third had some good advisors who kept the young king and the country on the straight and narrow until Henry was old enough to rule on his own. Unfortunately, though, it turned out that Henry wasn't very good at ruling on his own, just like his father. He managed to really annoy the barons all over again and was forced to sign an agreement like his father signed the Magna Carta. But this agreement was called the Provisions of Oxford, which said Henry had to take the advice of a council of barons. Oh dear. The leader of the barons was a nobleman called Simon. The leader of the barons was a nobleman called Simon de Montfort. When Henry went back on his promises and refused to take notice of the Provisions of Oxford, de Montfort organised a rebellion. After a battle, he managed to capture Henry and set himself up as ruler instead. But soon enough, the barons were fighting amongst themselves, as all rich people do. This is so just typical. Henry's son, Edward, was now old enough to fight, and he finally defeated and killed de Montfort at the Battle of Evesham in 1265. Edward was a good son, and instead of putting himself in charge, he gave the throne back to his father. That was really nice of him. hopefully the stupidity genes ran out when it came to Edward. Henry III ruled once more until he died in 1272, and I hope his son Edward took the throne after him. Face the facts. After Henry III's father, John, lost the crown jewels in the sea, Henry didn't have a proper crown to wear at his coronation. Oh dear, how embarrassing. And he ended he ended up wearing one of his mother's bracelets on his little head instead. Oh my god. Oh, that's so sweet, but also so funny at the same time. I want to see a picture of that. Crowning achievement. When de Montfort took power from Henry III, he called up the other nobles, knights of the shire and burgesses of the cities to come together and make a new council of advisors. Together, these men made up the first ever English Parliament. Now I wondered if this was the origins of Parliament, because it seemed like the barons were such a big part of English monarchy that they were kind of like a law unto themselves. And I wondered, because they had such influence over decisions, whether or not they were essentially like a parliament. But it's interesting because nowadays, in modern times, the crown has like no say whatsoever on our laws, on our government, and what we can and can't do. I suppose they have some influence, but really it's all down to Parliament, and then the Queen like signs off on like important stuff, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I don't know. Anyway, all I know is that Parliament and the government are in charge, and the monarchy is just like, I don't know, like a show, I think. Anyway, questionable knightship, or kingship, sorry. Henry III's hero was Edward the Confessor, who was considered a saint, and supposedly so holy that he could cure disease with his touch. Henry liked Edward's style and copied it. He really thought that he could heal the sick with a wave of his hand, and this was an idea that survived through many reigns to come. Henry also rebuilt Westminster Abbey to honour Edward, housing the saint's bones in a shrine, which you can still see today. That's really interesting, I did not know that. Oh dear, so Henry III had some sort of like martyr, hero, like saint complex. I wondered, maybe that explains his kind of sanguine, kind of chilled out expression. If you felt like you could be a healer, then yeah, you're gonna have that look on your face. Alright, so Henry seems to be just as stupid as his dad, but in different ways. Maybe not quite so evil as his dad. Doesn't seem like he murdered anybody. So let's quickly look at the painting. Like his forebears before him, he has his lovely curly hair. Not much of a beard, but he has this kind of genteel kind of look about him. He looks kind of chill. He just looks like he's going to like take a nap, or he's just come out of a nap, or something like that. He doesn't look menacing whatsoever. Alright, so let's look at the family tree here. Timeline of events, sorry. So in 1207, Henry is born. In 1216, Henry III succeeds to the throne. In 1225, Henry makes his brother Earl of Cornwall. There's a little thingy here. So Richard, Earl of Cornwall. Richard was the younger brother of Henry III. His big brother richest men in Europe. The Earl of Cornwall then fought on his brother's side against their brother-in-law Simon de Montfort during his rebellion of 1263. Richard's only surviving son from his first marriage, Henry of Almaine, was later murdered by de Montfort's sons Simon and Guy de Montfort in revenge. We don't know too much about the lineage here, so we hopefully will find out that if I do a little extra video on King John. So in 1236, Henry III marries Eleanor of Provence. Let's have a look at this. This is Eleanor of Provence. Oh, this is not a very flattering picture, is it, of Henry III? So Eleanor was known as a real beauty and was a loyal wife to Henry III, even when his subjects were up in arms against him. Henry in turn trusted his queen and made her regent in his absence, like we found out about Queen Matilda of Flanders and William I. And it turned out that Eleanor was really, really good at being regent. And when her husband died and her son Edward I became king, she stayed in England as Queen Dowager. Alright, so that was his wife. In 1237, the Treaty of York is signed. So the Treaty of York is signed between Henry III and Alexander II, King of Scotland. The Treaty of York confirmed the position of the English-Scottish border. A very important time. 1245, Westminster Abbey is rebuilt in the Gothic style, and in 1264 we have the Battle of Lewes. Battle of Lewes. Simon de Montfort, Earl of Leicester, with the support of the English barons, defeats and captures the king, Henry III. And in 1265, the Great Parliament is summoned. Simon de Montfort seized power following his victory over Henry III at the Battle of Lewes, but his grip on the country was not secure. In an attempt to gather more support, he summoned representatives from the barons, the knights of the shires, and also burgesses from the major towns. The resulting parliament in London discussed radical reforms and seems to have temporarily stabilized de Montfort's political position. And 1266, Treaty of Perth. This treaty between Alexander III, King of Scotland, and Magnus IV, King of Norway, gave control of the Western Isles to Scotland. And in 1272, Henry III dies. So you can see that there is a lot going on in his reign. Literally every other day, something's signed, somebody's fighting somebody, somebody's imprisoned, it's all going on. But thanks to his son, Edward, who came to his rescue, he kind of had a second crack at the throne. So let's do the quiz now and see how much we remember. So question 1 of 3. Who was Henry III's loyal queen? Oh, and a question about the queen. Elizabeth Woodville, Catherine of Valois, Margaret of Anjou, or Eleanor of Provence? I'm going to go with Eleanor of Provence because I remember the Eleanor bit. Correct. Henry III was married to Eleanor of Provence. Okay, next question. Question 2 of 3. Henry III was defeated at Montfort, Earl of Leicester, George Plantagenet, Duke of Clarence. All these names are so strange. Crouchback, I wonder who this guy is. But I'm going to say Simon de Montfort was the guy. Correct. Simon de Montfort, with the support of the English barons, defeated and captured Henry III. Next question, 3 of 3. In which battle did Henry III's son Edward defeat Simon de Montfort in 1265? Was it Battle of Poitiers? Oh, that's strange. Battle of Poitiers. Battle of Waterloo. Siege of Orleans. Battle of Evesham. I am going to say the Battle of Evesham. Correct. Edward defeated Simon de Montfort in the Battle of Evesham and reinstated his father on the throne, which I think was really nice of him. And we scored three crowns out of 3. So, Henry III, what can we summarise about him? He took after his father, King John, in his lack of intelligence and stupid decisions. He was captured and imprisoned, only to be, I guess, saved by his son, who was wise enough to, well, give his father another crack at the throne. He had some interesting thoughts about his rule, his kingship, and was a little bit too obsessed with Edward the Confessor, who was supposedly a saint, and Henry kind of thought he could cure people with his hands, which is weird. Alright, so that is Henry III, and next time we'll be moving on to Edward Longshanks. You may have heard this expression before. We used to actually give my friend back in school this nickname, weirdly enough. But anyway, we'll be moving on to Edward I, which was his son, in the next video. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it to be relaxing as well as informative. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful day,